Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Roy Evans of the Jericho Broadcast Networks, and I am here with Mr. Darren Reed, who is the Senior Vice President of Stride Professional Development. Darren, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Roy. Glad to be here.
All right, well, thanks. So let's start off by telling the folks a little bit about what Stride Professional Development is.
Yeah, absolutely. Stride is the nation's leading provider of online education in the K through 12 space. We were formerly known as K-12 Inc. and are over 2 decades in the space of providing free virtual online education across the nation to students, no matter where they are. We've since changed our name to Stride because we've expanded beyond the K-12 space, though that's still very much what we do as a priority. What we've also done with the Stride Professional Development Center is we've leveraged some of our expertise over the past 2+ decades of supporting schools and students and educators, teachers, principals, and we are trying to innovate, the way professional development happens for educators, and that we're doing that through the Stride Professional Development Center. Gone are the days where it's face-to-face only PD. It's episodic professional development. It's professional development that's not necessarily relevant to what teachers and educators need right away. So the Professional Development Center is designed to solve that challenge with some unique, innovative ways of delivering content.
All right, man. Well, listen, we are super excited here at the network to be engaged with you all and helping to provide this opportunity for teachers all across the country, and especially those teachers that are coming from our HBCU backgrounds, because we know that education was always one of the stalwarts of most HBCUs in this country. They all had teaching programs, and that's what a lot of them were founded for. So Darren, let's talk a little bit about those special programs that you guys have for the teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Roy, you hit on the very important point. Right now in our country, we're facing probably one of the greatest challenges, of our teaching corps that we have in many, many years. And that's around this teacher shortage. A lot of teachers are exiting the profession. Just based on tenure, they're retiring and moving on, and then you have our existing teachers who are being taxed and stressed, particularly post-COVID, with increasing demands, challenges that they're facing in the classroom, and a host of other issues that they struggle with. And we need good teachers, and we need to support the teachers that we have. So the two things that we're doing is that we know first-year teachers, among all teachers, are among the first to leave the profession within the first 5 years. I think they do at a 44% rate, which is just scary to think that folks are, graduated, want to go in the classroom and make a difference, but, feel like they need to leave within the first 5 years because it's so challenging. So we want to support them. Obviously, as a new teacher, your school that you work where you work your first year, the district where you work, there will be some professional development support to assist you. But we want to go a step further. We want to help every teacher in the country get off to a strong start to their first year and have some stick-to-itiveness, to help them get through that first year. So we're offering a year free access to the Stride Professional Development Center. It's a ever-growing online database of courses that will help them in a variety of different ways. Classroom management, targeted instruction, and a host of other things. And the content will continuously grow. Again, it's just another resource that allows them to sharpen their practice, to feel like they're supported, because the research says that teachers are leaving in large part because they don't feel like they get enough professional support. So we really hope that helps new teachers. So again, this is for any new teacher who just graduated in the country. All you have to do is go to our site and sign on using the Teachers Win discount at checkout. Also, we have another campaign where during Teacher Appreciation Week, we gifted all teachers in the country, no matter where you are, 6 months free Professional Development Center access. But we're doing a special thing through our partnership with the BCSN and our HBCU graduates, and also the schools that you work with. We want any teacher in the country who through our partnership gets access to the Professional Development Center, and they get 6 months free using the BCSN 23 passcode at checkout. Again, our goal is to support and get as many teachers on the site feeling supported, to really help them succeed and have some success, not only for them, but obviously for our kids and the communities they serve. So
Most definitely. And Darren, listen, we are super excited again to be a part of this. My mother was a teacher. My aunt was a teacher. I have my best friend is a teacher.
Absolutely.
So we understand. I've worked in the school system for years. So I understand the resources that are needed. I understand why a lot of these teachers do take the time and they sit there, and after going through college, they're like, you know what, let's do something different. Yeah. So we're happy to be a part of this to help you guys change that. So ladies and gentlemen, here's all you guys need to do. All you need to do is take a look and go to the link that's right below us right now and see what you're going to do. You're going to see two links on the page now, just to make sure. The top one takes you to their professional development page, homepage, that'll let you know about some of the things that are happening there and the things that you have access to. Go to the second link that says Teacher Appreciation. That'll take you directly to the content page where you can sign up and get your free year if you're a new teacher, and your free 6 months if you're an existing teacher. Let's show them how we utilize resources, and we make sure that we take time, those folks who are HBCU alum, and use this. And let's see what Stride has to offer. We're excited about it. We know you will be too. Darren, is there anything else that you'd like to say to the folks?
No, I mean, just, as a teacher myself, and understanding the need, and of course with the diversity that's needed in our teaching corps across the country, I know our HBCU teacher graduates are just exactly what we need in our community. So I really encourage them, and just glad to be doing this partnership with you all.
All right. Well, folks, there you go again. Mr. Darren Reed, Senior Vice President of Stride Professional Development Learning. We will be seeing you guys, and trust me, you'll be seeing more from their partnership with us as we move forward, always trying to do our best to make sure that we move forward with the community. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love my HBCU, and boy, I love it, I love it, I love my HBCU, and man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment, so we have none other than Jamie Walker. Professor Walker gets his time in the adjunct professor chair. How you doing, Jamie?
I'm great. They had to go, deep down in the reserves to come get me.
Oh man, it's not like that, is
it? Yeah.
Say you way down there in the pool, but somehow it came up though.
Hey, look, I'm getting my opportunity. I appreciate it.
There it is. So welcome to episode 446 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports institutions, large and small. From the NIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta, along with my co-hosts, Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. As we said, Mike Washington is out on assignment. He's actually traveling international. So we're going to keep him certainly held high as things are happening out there. But we do, as I said, have Jamie Walker in the seat. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KSWH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Fame, I should say, Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Big game this week. We bring number one to town. But with that being said, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, Charles, in this, I'm going to say, instead of how you doing, how you holding up?
It's been rough couple of days in terms of just talking to quite a few fraternity brothers. Of course, you're referencing a member of my undergraduate chapter, Delta Phi chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha. Young man Jalen Burns was shot and killed over the weekend, and my heart and my thoughts and my prayers go towards those young men grappling with that on campus right now. Beloved member of University Spring 23, initiate of Delta Phi Alpha Alpha. And that's, it brought back some memories of back when I was in college, back when I was in school. We had a similar incident that happened where a girlfriend of one of my line brothers was shot and killed. So we kind of been talking about that over the past couple of days. And, can't imagine what those young men are going through right now. So definitely sending thoughts and prayers to those young men on campus. I think there's a candlelight vigil tonight on campus for the young men. And I think the Jackson State National Alumni Association, they set up a link on the National Alumni Association website where you can donate to the family, because the family's in Jackson now, preparing to take his body back to Chicago. So I definitely want to send prayers to everyone back home.
I certainly appreciate you providing some insight in terms of what that looks like. Obviously, on the call, when you first got a glimpse of that, is when during the media call, as TC Taylor is the last to do his media things, and it was promptly talked about by Andrew Roberts that he would not be on the call because of tragic incidents that had happened on the campus of Jackson State University. And at that time, I hadn't really heard the news. So obviously, the more I found out, the more I was really devastated. Obviously, with yourself, not only that, you have a child of your own that's in the college. So you're talking about similar ages. Mike is traveling last week. Part of that was to go see his sons that are in college. Jamie Walker has his children growing up and getting to that time where we're starting to think about that. So it hits closer to home when you're going through all that. So certainly prayers to yourself, his family, most importantly, the Jackson State University family, the members of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Obviously, we're all part of a global family. Many of us are Greek members, so we certainly understand the bond, the brotherhood that comes extremely close in a lot of cases in terms of that time that you spend online. With that, unfortunately, we do have to add another loss. Virginia State University's legend passes away from, according to HBCU Game Day. Head coach, CIAA champion Lou Anderson has passed. Anderson passed away on Friday morning at the age of 87. He was a football fixture at Richmond, Virginia for more than half a century. Richmond, Virginia native, attended historically Black Maggie Walker High School before starting at Cottrell Junior College in North Carolina. He would finish his collegiate career at Claflin, South Carolina, where he played both football and basketball. Anderson spent 20 years as a head coach in Richmond area before taking over the program at Virginia State University. He led VSU from 1990 to 2001, winning back-to-back CIAA titles in 1995 and 96. He was twice named CIAA Coach of the Year. So Coach Anderson has touched the lives of not only his former players, but many others throughout VSU community, end quote, former Virginia State athlete and current FAMU University VP of Athletics, Tiffany Dawn Sykes, said in an award ceremony in 2018. With that being said, Jamie, I would be remiss if I didn't give you a moment to talk about either one of these, and then we'll certainly take a moment of silence.
Absolutely. There's way too much activity going on our campuses right now. And as much as we relish in the homecoming season, I pray for everyone's safety. Whether it be through, outside entities coming in, or whether it be just folks that mean us no good at all at our universities. I just pray for the safety of our universities at the very end of the day. We're
Most appropriate.
We're at a crossroads really in our country when it comes to different things. And I'm not going to, speak to the specific issues, but what I will say is the protection of our institutions is paramount. And at the very end of the day, regardless of what you believe in or anything of that nature, let's look out for each other and let's continue to strive to for the protection of our beloved institutions. Prayers to, you know, whether it be Morgan State. It's just been way too much of this going on. And I just continue prayers for our institutions at the very end of the day.
Yeah, certainly prayers, as you said. If I can put anything on it, you know, I hate to put it from this framework, but we've heard about this through news, music. This is America, and I think that was a perfect illustration that we live in a world that violence is part of the scope of what people want to see. And so it's going to resonate globally. We see what's going on now. Prayers for those involved, Palestinians, Israelis that were all hurt by this, but it's a reflection, and we continue to see it in our country. And unfortunately, I don't see much change. I've seen it for far too long in my life, and we have too many people that see capitalists as much more important than any other thing else in terms of maybe finding a change. So until we see a different framework in the minds of those that believe more money over people is necessary, I don't see a change. But we're going to get back to sports. This is a sports show, so we'll take our moment of silence and we'll get back to it after this.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Lab. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Lab, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles and Jamie. With that being said, let's give some honors those that were selected as Players of the Week. Let's start with you, Charles.
Yeah, let's start off with the SWAC. The SWAC is named Alabama A&M, Xavier Langford, Texas Southern's Jacob Williams, and Ladarius Owens, along with Mississippi Valley's Tygerian Williams as the SWAC Football Players of the Week for their impressive performances this past week. Let's start off with Xavier Langford from the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Leading the Bulldogs to their first win at Grambling since 2011, Dr. Phil. He rushed 16 times for 193 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also averaged 12.1 yards per carry while passing for 127 yards with 1 touchdown. Xavier Langford, SWAC Offensive Player of the Week. SWAC Defense Player of the Week was Jacob Williams from Texas Southern. 13 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 2 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and a 95-yard football return for a score as the Tigers claimed their first conference victory of the season in their win over Bethune-Cookman. Specialist of the week was Darius Owens. He contributed 4 kickoff returns for 142 yards and a long 49 yards as Texas Southern defeated Bethune-Cookman 34-31. He also averaged 35.5 yards per return while contributing 163 rushing yards along with 3 touchdowns. Huge day for Ladarius Owens. And the SWAC newcomer of the week, Tygerian Williams, passed for 265 yards while going 19 of 29 for 3 touchdowns to help Valley claim a homecoming victory, a rare homecoming victory over this weekend as they beat UAPB 42-17. And so those were your SWAC players of the week.
Good stuff, Charles. Shout out to Xavier. He actually got a helmet sticker this past Sunday in acknowledging what took place there. Had to give him a special shout out. They got it right there because he went berserk. Also got a special point of privilege. Texas Southern Jacob Williams, know his mom. All of the boys and daughter is actually going to Texas Southern University. Daughter comes up here next year. So she was at the game proud, and he certainly deserved the honors. It's kind of nice when you see friends and their siblings doing really well, so and children doing well. So it was pretty good. With that being said, let's turn the page and get over to the MEAC. Jamie, you got some love for the MEAC still?
Still, I always will have love for the MEAC, part of the MEAC Nation. Yes, so my dollars go there too. You know, even though I'm an A&T.
No doubt, no doubt.
You know, still.
That's why I thought I threw it out there to make sure people recognize.
Absolutely. MEAC Weekly Awards in football. Quarterback Otto Coombs was the Offensive Player of the Week. A.J. Richardson, Defensive Player of the Week both from Norfolk State. Juwan Howard, Rookie of the Week from South Carolina State University. Garrison Wheatley, Offensive Lineman of the Week from Norfolk State. And Specialist of the Week, Noah Tracy from Norfolk State University. So a lot of Spartans in the mix. Let's talk about him. Norfolk State quarterback Otto Coombs was named the MEAC Player of the Week. NSU linebacker A.J. Richardson earned Defensive Player. Coombs, quarterback, 6'3", 194-pounder, completed 10 of 27 passes for 129 yards through the air, rushed 12 times for 36 yards and 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, they lost the game against Tennessee State, but Coombs had a pretty good game, both in the air and on the ground. Richardson, linebacker, registered 11 tackles, 9 solo, with 1.5 for a loss against Tennessee State, again in that loss. Wheatley, offensive lineman, anchored the Spartans' offensive line that accounted for 279 yards of total offense, including 150 on the ground. So definitely was able to do their thing in the rushing game. Howell caught 3 passes for 93 yards, including 1 touchdown through the air, and rushed 9 times for 34 yards against Tennessee Tech as the Bulldogs faced the team from the OVC. And Tracy punted 6 times for 229 yards, 38.2 yard average, including 1 down inside the 20. So MEAC football honors, still playing good ball in the MEAC. So
hey,
wanted to honor those kids.
It's finna get good, Jamie.
Yes, it is. The
play
sprint
on Thursday. This is what
Playoff ball.
You talking about they tease you. Exactly. Playoff ball. They tease you for the first couple of weeks and then they say, bam, here you go. Let's get it on. Good stuff, Jamie. With that, Shivery's not dead. Charles, give us some love in terms of the weekly honors for volleyball in the MEAC.
Yeah, let's take a look at MEAC weekly volleyball honors. Like you said, Chivalry is not dead. Howard sophomore Rhea McKenna, she was named MEAC Player of the Week, presented by Coca-Cola. Norfolk State's Gabriel Gilbert was named the Rookie of the Week, while Howard sophomore Claire Simpson earned the Defensive Player of the Week honors, respectively, and North Carolina Central's Bella Derringer and Howard's Kayla Diaz were named co-setters of the week. Let's take a look. Rhea McKenna, she tallied 3.33 kills per set with a match-high 14 kills against Norfolk State Spartans. She added 1 assist, 2 service aces, 4 digs, and 2 blocks to complete her stat line. Gilbert recorded her second double-double of the season with 21 kills and 11 digs in a 4-set victory over the Bears of Morgan State. She averaged 4.14 kills per set with 29 on the week. Gilbert added 2 assists, 14 digs, and 4 blocks as the Spartans claimed their second in the MEAC standings with a 5-2 league record. Simpson averaged 5 digs per set, totaling 35 on the week to help the Bison to a 1-1 split this past week. She added 1 kill, 4 assists, and 3 service aces as well. Simpson led all athletes with 20 digs in the 4-set loss to High Point. Derringer, as one of the co-setters of the week, she averaged 11 assists per set, totaling 33 assists, and the 3-set victory for the Eagles over the South Carolina State Bulldogs. She added a kill, a service aces, and 4 digs in the match as well. And North Carolina Central bounced back against South Carolina State after dropping 3 conference matches in a row. And to close things out, Diaz, she totaled 60 assists, which was 8.57 average for the week between the 2 matches last week, including 34 and a 3-set sweep over the Spartans. She added 13 digs, 3 blocks, 2 service aces, and 1 kill on the week, and a partridge and a pear tree. As Diaz put up 24 assists in the 4-set loss to the annual Big South powerhouse known as High Point University. So those were your MEAC volleyball players of the week.
Well done by both of y'all. You know, is out on assignment, as I said. He loves those kills, so we got it in for Big Brother there. We got it in for Big Brother. With that being said, I'd be remiss if I didn't share a little love. Tennessee State out of the OVC Big South as they partnered up. We got a defensive player of the week out of the Big South OVC partnership. Terrell Allen, defensive lineman, 6 foot, 275 senior from Little Rock, Arkansas. Member of Tennessee State Tigers football program. Allen tallied 7 tackles, 6 solo, 4 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks, and a pass breakup as Tennessee State topped Norfolk State 24-17. As Jamie mentioned earlier, it was for homecoming. Tennessee State, it marked its first multi-sack game of the season. Allen played, helped TSU limit Norfolk State to 150 total rushing yards. With that being said, Terrell Allen, was the defense player of the week for the Big South OVC. Speaking of Tennessee State, Eddie George questions whether Tennessee State fans love football from HBCUsports.com. Now, that was amazing to me because I certainly understood where Eddie George, and I'm going to read the quote because I've seen people take this like every direction in a referendum on the Tennessee State attendance, which I think is a legitimate question. But that wasn't particularly what he was talking about. Tennessee State played homecoming game against Norfolk State in front of a crowd of 13,975. Yes, it was lower than what they did with Bethune-Cookman last year. I think that's what got a lot of people in the tizzy. But with that being said, Tennessee head coach Eddie George was less than thrilled about the early departure, lackluster attendance at some TSU games, expressing that sentiment as the post-game press conference Saturday. But this was his specific quote. I'm hoping that next week we'll have the same crowd that was here today. It was great. I would have loved it for it to have been packed for the entire game. We have a special group, and I want our fans to really embrace that, end quote. He was specifically talking about folks leaving after halftime, which was a significant show. We played it up here on the show. You had Norfolk State, the Legion, traveling to Tennessee State with the Aristocrat. You have at the end of the year, HBCU Band National Championship in Atlanta the Friday before the Celebration Bowl. These 2 teams and most people poll rankings that do that specialty were in the top 10, if you would, including ours when we do the top 7 at the major division level. And we had this matchup as one to watch because it was a top 7 even the week coming into it. We'll get into that a little more to tell you who we think won the match. We'll do that on Thursday. This is beyond the pale in a different discussion. So take a little time. Go to you first, Jamie. What were your thoughts in terms of the comments? And you might even add a little scuttlebutt in terms of everybody else making this a referendum. Because, somehow A&T had to get in this. Hampton. And people talk about fair warning. Now, to be fair, I've already told you my thoughts in terms of the move and all that and what's to come. But for me, that specifically wasn't this dialogue and discussion. We'll talk about that. We'll have time to talk about it. It is a case study. Each of these are case studies. So we'll have our time, and we can annually do it after every year. We got time to do it. That's what we do. But what are your thoughts in terms of Eddie George, Coach George, comments?
Well, to add to that case study for Tennessee State is a lot longer than A&T so far. It is yet to be determined,
no doubt,
when it comes to A&T. But what I'll say is this: in what he said specifically and what he addressed, I 100% agree with him. I think part of the football game and part of the experience when it comes to crowds being involved in how football games operate, it's very important. It's huge. When you have a crowd that's there for third downs, making noise and things of that nature, it drives the just the excitement of both the players and just the environment in general. So I agree 100% with them. Even though homecoming, you're trying to, especially with them winning, everybody's getting their plans together for the what we're doing afterwards, what concert we're going to, what club we hitting, all of those things. But at the same time, when it's talking about dealing with football, the question of whether or not, they truly enjoy it or truly are football fans, being that, fans are leaving early, quote unquote, he has every right to address that and wants his fan base to be engaged with the football team. Getting up and leaving early based on what they think the game is, and the game ended up being closer than of course they would want it. But I think in some fans' eyes, they thought it would be a blowout. Let me go ahead and get started on the festivities for the after parties. But at the same time, if you are there to watch the football game, not just for the event, but for the football structure, Coach George had every right to be to feel a certain way about it. I agree with him.
I certainly agree with his thoughts, but I asked this fundamental question because a lot of people put that out there. They're not true football fans. I said, what if they're not?
That's
I don't think people have asked that question. What if they're not true football heads? What do you do now? That's a different question. Before I let you jump in, Charles, because I want to get this out for Brandon, part of the HBCU Sports Lab, he is obviously also associated with HBCUsports.com, and he asked the question, and it was a different question. He talked to me, and George specifically wanted to get this out, so he turned it into the answer. But shout out for Brandon King, one, asking the questions, being in there. It was his first time where he got his card carrying a card as a media person. So shout out to Brandon King as he continues to grow in his space and do what he does, part of the lab show as well as a young reporter. With that being said, he wanted to make sure y'all know this is not the first time Coach George has raised this concern. He said there were some empty seats after halftime. So we did want to get that on the table. Charles, the floor is yours to go in whatever direction you want to go.
Tennessee State fan base, y'all know better. Y'all ain't no damn band school. Y'all. But Big John Mary rolling on his grave. Don't y'all leave after halftime. Y'all know better than that. There's Brandon King, get your folks right up there. Now, this is a proud football tradition. Tennessee State University football, teams that have gone to the playoffs, things of that nature. Great football program. Don't y'all embarrass Eddie George leaving after halftime like that. He comes from Ohio State. Now, y'all know that folks come for the game. Now, you got to be there. We've talked about the importance of being the 12th man. This applies to the fans. This applies to the band. You got to stay engaged. You can't be leaving after halftime. It's not a band culture. Let's watch some ball.
Man, I just watched the Chennis Berry pregame announcement. And Charles got me fired up. He gave a lecture. I don't even know where to go after that. I was going to spin it off and say some other thing. But Charles, you ended it right. I'm going to leave it right there. We're going to go to our next break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll talk about the top 7 in the mid-major poll ranking. Well done, Charles. Man, he put me in my place. Drop the mic.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplify Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplify Development Services.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
That's a pretty tight spot.
Watch this.
Of course your Buick parks itself. That's so you.
It's just up here on the right.
Of course you know where we're going. That's so you.
Kinda got a sixth sense.
And a head-up display.
They're here.
Hit the field, warm up. You brought all these players in your Buick?
Yeah.
So you.
It is.
There's a Buick that fits your life, because at the heart of every Buick SUV is you.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
When you're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Are you press the analytic data with your hip hop? If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, yeah, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
That's true. This is Dr. Liz inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is on assignment, so we have Professor Walker and Professor Bishop. We're going to get them to give their analysis as I provide the presentation from the lecture room on the top 7 for the mid-major poll rankings in week number 7. With that being said, man, it's tough in the mid-major division. It's teams with 5 wins, just 2 losses, that can't get in the top 7. So I want to see your thoughts. Not a lot of changes at the top, as we still have undefeated teams, only undefeated teams in HBCU sports. They continue to do that. With that being said, dropping out this week was Tuskegee Golden Tigers 5-2, 4-1. Fort Valley State Wildcats also dropped out this week at 5-2, 5-1. Shout out to Jamie as he got the call doing that Tuskegee Golden Tigers. Obviously, we played another call. We couldn't play yours. We didn't want to get pinched, as they say, but we wanted to give you kudos because you made a great call yourself. With that being said, receiving votes this week, Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls are 5-2. 4-1, 116 points outside of the top 10. Receiving votes are also Tuskegee Golden Tigers, I should say, at 5-2, 4-1, 113 points. Fort Valley State Wildcats are 5-2, 5-1 with 112 points. Let's get in the top 7. Edward Water Tigers, 5-2, 5-1 with their Hail Mary that was answered. Jump into the poll rankings at 106 points. They were not ranked last week, but they're in there now after a big win, improved to 5-2. More importantly, 5-1 in the conference race. At number 6, talked about the Fayetteville State Broncos. They're actually back in the top 7 at 5-2, 5-0, as they quietly are rolling and getting things done. 114 points. They were not ranked last week, as they are in the top 7. At number 5, we get to some familiar names. Miles Golden Bears at 5-2, 4-1. They moved back up in the poll 2 spots this week, 131 points, as they were previously ranked 7. At number 4, Virginia Union Panthers, 6-1, 4-1. They're rolling, 136 points. They was previously ranked 6, setting up what could be a barn burner at the end of the year, They're ranked number 4. At number 3, Allen Yellow Jackets. Surprised to many people this year. Had a big win, 6-1, 4-1, bounce back. They were previously ranked 5, so they move up 2 spots, 140 points. At number 2, should not be a surprise, Virginia State Trojans, 7-0, 5-0. 3 first-place votes, 183 points, but they remain at number 2. At number 1, you have the Benedict Tigers, 7-0, 5-0. No team is hotter at the mid-major level, I would say, especially when you think about what they did last year. They have 6 first-place votes, the reigning mid-major HBCU national champions, and they keep rolling and get it done, 186 points. With a big Thursday night victory last week, they are rolling. With that being said, we're going to let our guests go first. Jamie Walker, what are your thoughts in terms of the top 7 poll? I will say this before you give your answer. You want it back on the show, you might want to think twice. No, just kidding.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. I like this poll. I like it a lot.
Smart man.
Yeah, you know, I like it. Now, if I were to change anything, and I wouldn't, but if I were to change anything, I don't think Fayetteville State is getting enough love. One of the only ones that's defeated Virginia Union. You know, even though it was a close game, I know AD Drew on another show, you know, talked about you know, them beating them in the hurricane and whatnot. But Fayetteville State continues to win, those close games. They really do. They're battle tested. I know they have a big one. I think either they've already beat Winston or they have one coming up against Winston-Salem State. So I think, you know, they continue to win those games, representing that CIAA South. And I don't think they're getting enough love. I know Stephen J. Gaither would you know, be shocked because he doesn't think I give the CIAA enough love over the SIAC. But, you know, Fayetteville State is right up there. I'll say Allen took a big leap after faltering to Fort Valley the week before. Getting that win this week has catapulted them in this poll. So I'm gonna tell you what, both are playing good ball, and kudos to the SIAC and Commissioner Anthony Holloman for taking that format and changing it from a divisional format to now the absolute sprint to the top. When it comes to the end of that season, you're going to see some phenomenal games.
With that being said, before you, Charles, Roy, if you would flash up the top 7 poll rankings again for those that want to see the mid-major. We got somebody looking for it. But good points, Jamie. Very good points in terms of that. Shout out, as you spoke up his name, Stephen Gaither. He jumped in there. He said, FSU wins so ugly. But I have to agree with you. Your points are valid in terms of the fact they just win. We'll see. They'll kind of a chance, and they'll get to prove their points. But at some point, you are what you are. You keep winning. So let me go to you, Charles, and get your thoughts in the top 7 to see where you land this week.
Well, I was curious. I was waiting to see if Edward Waters would land in that top 7. So kudos to Edward Waters and their prolific offense. I was waiting to see when they make their debut in the top 7. So here they are. They have a young man, Jaron Russell. And Jamie, you got an opportunity to see him up close this past weekend, but 15 touchdowns on the season. He's averaging 277 yards through the air. They look to be a scary little team sitting out there. They ruined the homecoming 32,000 Tuskegee fans. So kudos, kudos. And you take a look at I'm with you. Fort Valley. I want to stick them in there because they're 5-1, but I can't argue with the teams that are sitting in front of them. I mean, I think these are all very worthy teams sitting in front of them. Like you said, Allen, good bounce back win this past weekend, and Benedict. Boy, it's gonna be a second or two before we see a team that I think could just really match up with Benedict real tough. So I'm waiting on Benedict Allen. That should be fun.
That's a good one. That should be fun at the end of the year. We talked about the Virginia State, but you go to that out of the CIAA, but you go to SIAC. That Benedict Allen at the end of the year could be very special. Speaking of that, we're going to go to some mid-major matchups, and we have Edward Waters as part of those matchups. So stick with us. We'll be right back on the other side, and we'll get these gentlemen to talk about the mid-major classic game of the week, as well as the independent mid-major division game of the week. in regards to Langston and Arkansas Baptist, as Langston is on a win streak. We'll see if they can continue to move forward. Stick with us. Be right back after this break.
Hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
As technology continues to bring changes to the world of education, it's time we also reimagine teacher professional development. Gone are the days of one-size-fits-all learning that can only be accessed at a specific time and place. The Stride PD Center is an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that allow educators to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. The best professional development plans are those that include a level of flexibility and choice for educators. Whether you're a teacher, school, or district, visit us today to take charge of your learning.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Good stuff. This is Dr. Lil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Jamie and Charles. Let's get into the mid-major classic games of the week. We got a good matchup. This features that newly ranked Edward Waters at number 7. We're in Jacksonville, Florida. Breast Cancer Awareness Day game, color pink. SIAC Saturday matchup, October 21st, 5 o'clock p.m. We have Albany State Golden Rams coming off a loss, 4-3, 4-1 in conference play. At number 7, Edward Waters Tigers, 5-2, 5-1. With that being said, Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of this? Can Edward Waters continue to play the football they're playing, or will Albany State find a way to bounce back?
Yeah, I'm really wanting to drink the Edward Waters Kool-Aid. I mean, like I mentioned, with regards to, and I wanted to hear Jamie in regards to John Russell in terms of his play at quarterback. One of the things that jumps out at me, 61% completion ratio. When you take a look at accurate quarterback who's able to get the ball, push the ball downfield, and the magic at the end of that game, I think that's, kind of captured my imagination a little bit with regards to Edward Waters. But I want to go with them just to continue the momentum. I like the way they play football. I really did not expect them to be in that game with Tuskegee. So that turned my head this past weekend. So I'm going to keep going with the momentum. Go with Edward Waters and see what they'll do.
Good stuff.
They get the W.
Good stuff. Shout out to President Faison over there, Edward Waters. You talking about laying a roadmap of how you build energy for an institution through athletics. He certainly has created that roadmap. Obviously, he got a chance to come home to Tuskegee as he was there in an administrative role for a while. Him and his wife really do a great job in terms of establishing that role, in terms of being fans of the institution. And that he's truly HBCU through and through. That being said, Jamie, what's your thoughts in terms of this matchup? You've seen some of this up and close. You've seen Edward Waters calling the game. So if anybody can give us some malice, we're going to go to you.
Well, let me tell you. I think the offense has gotten so much of the praise this year. Jaron Russell at quarterback. When you're throwing at a 61% clip and you're completing those kind of passes, and those amount of touchdown passes he's thrown, it just speaks to his ability. But along with that, they are never phased. In that game, Tuskegee went up 14 points, and it looked early as if Tuskegee was going to run away with it with the environment going on. The sun had just came out. It was a beautiful homecoming day. Everybody dancing in the stands, all of that. But Jaron Russell was as cool as a cucumber. He just was. And it was one of those things that he just led that team up and down the field, and they were never phased. That was the biggest thing that I could kind of pick up from him in general. Looking at film of Edward Waters, and yes, they've been in games and things of that nature, but to see what he does up close in leading this team. They have a lot of team speed, that classic Florida team speed. They have it all around. But for him to be able to lead this offense and just distribute the ball the way he does, he doesn't try to go for the big play all the time. He just distributes the ball to his playmakers. They have little, basically jitterbug wide receivers that are small, that he gets the ball to out quickly and let them do their thing. But the defense is a unit that does not get enough credit. They are one of those units that will go and take away the ball. They try to take away your biggest threat on offense and go take away the ball when you put it in the air. So against Albany State, it's going to be interesting because I think Albany State is still trying to find an identity. Quinn Gray, everyone knows him from his past, both collegiately and professionally. He wants to throw the football. And he doesn't have the personnel yet to be able to throw the ball like he wants to. He switches quarterbacks, went back to Deontay Banu, who's been, that stalwart in that position for the last 2 years, under Gabe Gardenia, who's moved on. But I think they're still trying to find an identity. They had been playing well up until this point, but Allen, had enough offense to kind of overtake that. So it'll be interesting because I think if they can kind of steer the ship and take away those offensive opportunities for Edward Waters, they could be in this game, but I'm going to still go with Edward Waters to win this.
Good stuff. You talking about cool as a cucumber. It's something about a nice, cold cucumber, man. As the last couple of years, I've really got excited about cucumber. It's kind of scary.
Little vinegar,
salt, oil and vinegar, little pepper. I don't even need the extra salt, boy. It's about that cucumber. So good lexicon as you talk about that. Let's go to the independent side. I'm going to stay with you, Jamie. This matchup is in Langston, Oklahoma. W. Anderson Stadium, homecoming, independent matchup of the week comes to us from the Sooner Athletic Class. Arkansas Baptist, as they brought back football, they joined the Sooner Athletic Conference. So this is a conference matchup. Arkansas Baptist, they're off the map, but they just came back. If you had to look at it, in terms of the overall ranking, much like you talked about the toughness of Albany State, I had them 14th in my overall index. Arkansas Baptist is number 28. Coming up of late, Langston has kind of righted the ship. They, as far as up overall at 12 in terms of Langston Lions and my overall strength rankings, they're at 4-2, 4-1. Arkansas Baptist just got a win, though. So they're 1-6, 1-4. What are your thoughts? That win was over Texas College, the other HBCU, the three of them in the Sooner Athletic Conference, talking about that. What are your thoughts in terms of this matchup?
Well, I think Langston is right now riding a high of, being, kind of up and down in the beginning, having some losses. You got to think about this program being successful in the last couple of years with Trip Harrington at the quarterback position, and them kind of transitioning into the new phase of what they're doing. I think right now it just speaks to the coaching and speaks to the culture of that program going forward. They're right now 4th in the conference. They are ascending, but they got some tough games coming up. I think they're in the teeth of their schedule. I think this game against Arkansas Baptist, they should win it. I think just because Arkansas is kind of at the bottom of the conference, I think with what they're doing right now as far as getting people in the right places, quarterback Torrance Bardell, absolutely throwing the ball like a Langston team should, and the Langston team has in the last couple of years. I think their offense is just good enough to get this done, even though Arkansas is kind of sending as well. They are at the bottom of the conference, but at the same time, I think they're starting to play better ball as well. But I think Langston will have too much for them, and I think Langston goes, double-digit win.
Good stuff. Charles, we used to put Quentin Morgan's name out there quite a bit as a hot coach. People still looking at him, maybe not quite as much as they were, but what are your thoughts in terms of him as the Langston Lions at home for homecoming? He has a record at home, particularly against HBCUs. What are your thoughts in terms of this matchup? Arkansas Baptist, the Buffaloes, do they have any chance? The Buffaloes, us against the Lions?
No chance whatsoever. Homecoming game at Langston. Get this, over the last 4 games, Langston has outscored their opponents 165-30. That's 41 points per game. They figured out on the offensive side of the ball. And like you mentioned, Torrance Bardell, he is flinging the ball around all over the place. Take a look at their last game right here in Stafford against North American. Real balanced in terms of taking a look at what they were doing. 200 yards in the air, 200 yards on the ground. Just way too much for Arkansas Baptist in this game. I got a big double-digit win for Langston Lions in this one.
Langston Lions are back. With that, we'll be right back after this break. We'll get in the top 7 for the major division. Stick with us as we give you more.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
You see, Head & Shoulders has Scalp Shield technology, protects against flakes even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. We're never not working. Number 15?
That's my rub.
Ooh, nice.
Never not working.
Never, ever, never, ever not working.
Welcome, everybody, to Juneau, Alaska.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
T. Madden and Associates.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a lot, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Jamie Walker and Charles Bishop. One final thing on the mid-majors, I want to give some love to the folks out there. Great dialogue going on in terms of the SIAC, CIAA. Races are heating up, some great matchups. But check us out on Thursday. We will have 2 top 7 matchups, if you would, in terms of both the SIAC and CIAA, top 10 matchups. So another great week. We had this a couple of weeks ago, mainly out of the major division in a lot of ways for the SWAC. This time it's churning, and we got these matchups at the mid-major level for CIAA, SIAC. With that being said, let's get in the major division, give some updates here. Dropping out this week, Hampton Pirates, 3-3, 1-2 overall. Tough road loss for them. Grambling State Tigers also fall out after losing their homecoming. That was a trend this past weekend. 3-4, 2-2 overall. Prairie A&M Panthers, they weren't homecoming, but you sure felt that way as they got shut out. 3-4, 3-1. A tough loss for them against Houston Christian University. Let's get in the top 7 and show those some love in terms of what's going on. Before we do that, those some teams receiving votes on the outside. Alabama State Hornets 3-3, 2-2. Big win for them and put themselves just outside of the top 7, 164 points. You have Hampton Pirates, while they dropped out, they're still receiving votes. 3-3 on the season, 1-2, 154 points. As well as Grambling State Tigers, outside of the top 7, but still receiving votes, part of the top 10 at 3-4, 2-2 overall with 148 points. Without further ado, top 7 starts with Alcorn State Braves. They were open this past weekend, but they're not ranked. They didn't hurt themselves and found themselves in the top 7. 3-3 overall, 2-1. Be interesting to see this week as they travel to Arkansas Pine Bluff after Pine Bluff was on the road, took a tough loss to Mississippi Valley. That should be intriguing as we continue with the SWAC race. At number 6, Alabama A&M Bulldogs, 4-3, 2-2. Probably had one of the shocks of the week as they went and get it done against those Grambling State Tigers. Improved to 4-3, 2-2, 184 points. They were not ranked last week, but they jumped in the top 7. We're not finished with the teams jumping in the top 7. We had 3 of them. And the next one is the Southern Jaguars, 3-3, 2-1. They improved to 3-3. They were at home, homecoming. They got it done for their homecoming as they continue to do what they do. Lincoln, California is the HBCU homecoming school of the week, or when everybody wants to get right. 187 points. They were not ranked. Let's get into the teams that were ranked previously and see where they move around. We have Jackson State. They only fall one spot, 4-3, 2-2. Previous ranked 395 points. They do lose at home. They do lose at homecoming. But because of all the teams losing behind them, they find a way to stay in the top 7 and only fall a spot. Bring us to number 3, Tennessee State Tigers. Improved to 4-2, 1-1. Big victory at home. Getting it done for homecoming, 215 points. Although Eddie George would like to see a little more from the fans, he got enough for his teams, and they got a win there. They were previously ranked 4. They moved up a spot. Bringing us to the top 2, we all know who this is. The question for many is, who is your top 2? In this case, our number 2 is North Carolina Central Eagles. They were open this past weekend, so they stay at 5-1. They have a big matchup this week just because it's a MEAC conference game. It will be part of our feature games of the week, so we'll talk about that a little later before we close things up. But right now, 6 first-place votes, 245 points, so just outside of the number 1 ranking. And it looks like they're on a collision course with the number 1 ranked team, which was Florida A&M Rattlers, with the losses of Jackson State. In terms of that, it kind of put them really in controlling interest. 3-game essentially lead because they beat Alabama State and Jackson State with 2 losses head-to-head. So it's really 3. Alabama A&M has 2 losses, but they still have them ahead. So they're in a solid position. So the countdown starts, but they're at number 1. The Rattlers, as they were open, they traveled to Texas Southern, which should be interesting. We'll talk about that on Thursday, as that is a featured game of the week. They're 4-0 in conference play, 6 first-place votes. They remain at number 1 in week number 7 with 246 points. I'm going to start with you, Charles. What are your thoughts in terms of the top 7 rankings?
Can't argue with it whatsoever. I think this is very accurate of the absolute amount of parity that you see on the with regards to the major level. And now we're going to separate out some things over the next few weeks, especially now that we get into this one and done playoff atmosphere in the MEAC. One of the things I kind of take a look at, especially with the SWAC, and this is why I say this is kind of a beware weekend. Florida A&M, long trip to Texas Southern, take on a team that, despite their record, a lot of talent. Same thing, Southern, going to Bethune-Cookman. Despite Bethune-Cookman's record, quite a bit of talent. And the margin of error is so thin within the SWAC that we saw this past weekend, you can't have a game like Jackson State had, where they had 3 turnovers. Special teams created short fields, created easy opportunities for Alabama State to score. I think it's when a game is kind of flowing like that, it can create all sorts of chaos, because I don't see a lot of teams that can just rip and run up and down the field and go 80 yards whenever they feel like. So I think this is one of those weekends where you want to pay attention to the margin of the score, because I think it's going to be about that much this upcoming weekend. Very accurate poll going into this upcoming weekend.
Thank you, Charles. And great points you make in terms of the competitiveness of these games this season. And I expect, as you said, that it will continue. So we'll be interested to see as things go down the stretch, who can find a way to win those close games. With that being said, Jamie, what are your thoughts in terms of the top 7 of the major division? You did so well on the mid-major. We'll see if you can double down and do it again, or you might have different thoughts this time around.
I think the poll is almost spot on. I would give maybe a little bit more credence to Alcorn only because if you look at the teams ahead of them, I think they all have some questions. Alcorn does too, but I think right now, like all Fred McNair squads, you can never count them out. I think the Soul Bowl is going to tell a whole lot at the end of the year. And I think Aaron Allen is playing phenomenal football at the quarterback position. They're never out of a game. So I think they're right there. So I could see them easily moving up over a couple of teams in the poll, but otherwise it's right there. I am so ready for the MEAC sprint though, because despite having, North Carolina Central clearly head and shoulders above so many. You saw what happened last year in a couple of games, that South Carolina State game in particular. Teams that are so familiar with each other and players and things of that nature, anything can happen in conference play. So I'm curious to see what they do going forward, but definitely looking forward to them getting into conference play.
As you talk about the Braves, I think you make an excellent point. I certainly could see them moving up. I'll tell you this, they have a chance to certainly make their statement. 3 of their last 5 games, if you would, are against the Western Division, and they have a chance to certainly make a statement there. 2 of those games are pretty big games. You have Southern coming to town, and then they go on the road to Houston, to Texas Southern University. But in the mix, they have the rival with Mississippi Valley. So that's going to be fascinating when you talk about that. But you talking about Valley, they got their rivals back-to-back. Jackson State this week at home, and then they travel to Alcorn next week. And then, obviously, you're talking about the Mississippi rivals and Mississippi schools. Speaking of all, they close it again with Jackson State. Boy, that could be for a lot of marbles. Jackson State may not be able to find themselves hosting a championship game, but they would like no other thing to make sure that Alcorn not only doesn't host one, that they don't even get to go.
Y'all sit right here on the couch with us. Right here on the couch with us.
I can see them now. So to be fascinating, so you see what goes on, and you see Charles got a little chuckle, so he knows exactly what I'm referencing. That's why I've learned so much from him. With that, Stickers will be back after our last break. We'll come back on the other side, talk about these final 2 major division matchups. You don't want to miss it because one of them features the number 2 ranked team this week as they get into conference play on Thursday. We'll be in the middle of the show, so stick with us. We'll give you some updates, and then you can turn right over and get into that Thursday night game on ESPNU as we start out MEAC play this past weekend starting on Thursday. Again, stick with us. We'll be right back after this last break on the other side.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
Compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Let's get into these games of the week. Let's get right into it. Major division game of the week is coming out of the MEAC. And no, it's not a classic, but it sure seems like one since it's under the Thursday Night Lights, ESPNU, Baltimore, Maryland, huge stadium. MEAC kicks things off. Number North Carolina Central is on the road at Morgan State. Bears 1-4. In terms of what they look like, if I had to go to my strengths, I'd have Morgan State at number 16. Obviously, they've showed a lot of talent, particularly on the defensive side, but can they get some offense rolling? I guess the question I'm going to ask both of y'all is, any way we can see an upset in this game? Charles is shaking his head, so I'll go to him first and let him get it out the way. Maybe we get a little more suspense from Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, I want it to be successful, but you know, when Davis Richard puts that Superman cape on, yeah, you know, that's game, set, match. So I don't see Morgan State with enough offense to offset North Carolina Central, especially with regards to what Mookie Collier and Davis Richard are able to do on the offensive side of the ball, and they play great defense as well. So no, I don't see Morgan State being in this game. I think Central wins it going away.
Good stuff. Jamie, what are your thoughts in terms of this matchup?
I told Joshua Sims this once. Even as an Aggie, I'm no hater. That team is complete. From top to bottom. They got the size, the speed, the moxie, the coaching. But what I'll say is this: I won't say there's no way it can happen. They're playing at Hughes. Morgan State may be looking for some get back. Because they got embarrassed last year on Thursday night from Central. And, you know, there may be some motivation there, but Charles hit it right on the head. I don't know if they got enough offense. I just don't. They have a great running game. But from the quarterback position, if they're so one-dimensional they can't score points, this will be a long game because Central's going to do it from every angle. They can throw the ball, they can run the ball, and they play great defense. So I think it's Central. You know, Central, and it's not even close.
To both of you all's point, one of the things is just how long can Morgan State even keep it close before, if they're not careful, Central has a chance to really run away with it. If it's close, then you never know, and at least can go down in terms of what happens the rest of the season. I think that's the bigger question. Sticking with you, Jamie, since you're on the show, we wanted to make sure that we showed the A&T Aggies some love, you know, in the Colonial, formerly known as the Colonial, now the Coastal Athletic Conference, CAA. Obviously, A&T is struggling a little bit this year, but Richmond has played several HBCUs, and some of them have got the best of the Spiders. So we thought this was an opportunity to see, is this a chance for the Aggies to get a Coastal win? And so we wanted to kind of bring you on as a specialist and tell us what you thought, and then we'll get Charles's thoughts on it as well. This is Richmond Spiders that are 4-3, 3-1. They're at North Carolina A&T, so it is a home game, who are just 1-5 overall and 0-3 in terms of the CIA race. With that being said, Jamie, what are your thoughts in terms of this matchup? Can they find a way to get it done?
I think they can. I think it's one of the few games that can be gotten by the squad this year. You know, A&T has struggled. I think it was expected they would struggle, but I think the way they have struggled has been more of a surprise. Not throwing over 100 yards in any game this year. Throwing for 31 yards this past game. Even though the conditions were not conducive to throw the ball, they haven't been able to throw the ball even in good weather. Delaware threw the ball for only 55 yards themselves. The rushing game is still there and run the ball effectively. And I think Richmond matches up a little bit better with A&T. I think if they can get Kevin White going, and what I mean by that is with the running game with Kenji Christian, they can do some things. But I think, you know, Richmond's still going to be tough because, of course, they play good football, but they have been gotten by the likes of Morgan State. So I think you're talking about a squad that these are one of these games that I think A&T is very competitive in. Because of just how they match up. If they can get something going, if they're not so one-dimensional, I think this can be one of those games that they can get a win. If not, you're talking about few and far between looking up and down that schedule. I think the squad is improving, but not at the rate that people think it should, because that offense is just not doing what it needs to. They have some players, but just not improving, especially in the passing game, at the rate that it should be right now.
Yeah, you make some great points when you talk about the rate offensively the challenge. They got it done against Norfolk State a couple of weeks ago where they exploded in a lot of ways on offense. But most of that was done in the first half where it kind of slowed down in the second half and Norfolk made a run. So, again, to your point, can they find a way at home to get a little more offensive? We talked about the struggles with Morgan State Bears offense. That's similar to what you see for A&T. We also thought about that a little bit Mississippi Valley, and boy, did they right the ship this past week in Arkansas Pine Bluff. Well, I say all that to say, in terms of my indicator, they have improved. I had them a little lower. They pushed up to 19th in terms of the 21 HBCUs. Boy, you talk about how the rich have kind of fallen on hard times. This is a program that was at the top, and now they're near the bottom with just 21 FCS fighting for that space with Mississippi Valley and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Wow. That's scary to think. With all that being said, Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of this matchup with A&T Aggies hosting the Richmond Spiders?
Well, I think to Jamie's point, I mean, the question becomes with A&T, what are they going to do offensively? And you touched on something, Jamie, and I was curious your thoughts real quick on what does it take to get Kevin White up and going?
I think more than anything, I think the receiving core has let him down. I think one game he had 7 drops. He's a true dual threat quarterback, similar to Christopher Zealous over at Hampton, who it's kind of for them feast or famine. So I think what they have to do is get him some easy passes early, make it successful. Then I think, that opens up the running game because they can still rush the football. So I think, when it comes to Kevin White, you're talking about a true freshman who's gotten in there and done well. They also went back kind of to a dual quarterback system with Eli Brickhandler going into games, who was a capable passer. But it is so difficult to kind of to diagnose this team because they had capable passers last year with Zach Yeager, Eli Brickhandler, and others. They were able to throw the football better this year. So schematically, I'm wondering what's going on with the coaching staff to actually address what's going on in the passing game. So it's head scratching.
I got you. Well, my heart says A&T, and like you said, I think if they can run the football, that's going to be the key to time of possession is going to be key in this game if they can keep that offense out there on the field. And because when you take a look at it, Richmond has been opportunistic, especially last game, 6 sacks. And then they got 14 points off turnovers against Rhode Island. So I think it's going to be crucial that A&T protects football and they can get the W at home. And hopefully that A&T crowd becomes that 12th man and can kind of push them over the edge.
Great stuff. Great analysis by both of you all. I appreciate you joining us, Jamie, and Charles doing what he always does, bringing the noise, bringing the knowledge, bringing the data, as Mike would like us to do as we break down these matchups. Make sure you tune us in on Thursday as we give you your SIAC and CIAA. I told you those are top 10 matchups for both programs. One of those great weekends that we get far and few between. Also have some fascinating matchups on the major division, which will feature the number 1 ranked team, Florida A&M traveling to Texas Southern. We'll break that down. With that being said, we told you earlier about that Edward Waters versus Albany State. That is on the Black College Sports Network. That Miles versus Allen, it's on the Black College Sports Network. We'll also have the Tuskegee versus Savannah State. It will be audio on the network Saturday as well. So check us on Saturday. We're going to bring you live and inside the SIAC. We're going to give you some touch points so you can catch and grab a hold of your HBCU football this weekend, particularly at the mid-major level. With that being said, I want to thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta, Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, as well as Jamie Walker joining us as a guest lecturer today with 2 members of the crew continuing to get it done. We appreciate you. We hope you enjoy it. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday right here at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time and Sundays at 9 a.m. We look forward to next week as we continue to give you what's going on this week and discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKenyatta Cavil. That's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Twitter. Facebook and YouTube is Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
Jamie?
Lecture.
Dismiss.